Picture this. You're scrolling through social media late at night, trying to learn more about faith, and suddenly your screen fills with, "You must pray for exactly 1 hour each day." No, no. You need these 7 specific morning routine steps. Actually, you should be following these 12 spiritual laws. Feeling overwhelmed yet? Yeah, me too. It seems like everyone has their own complicated formula for faith these days. Hey there, I'm glad you're here. Today, we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to take all that complicated stuff about faith, all those rules, requirements, and religious checklists that people have created over the years, and break it down to what really matters. You know what's interesting? Jesus was actually really good at this. When religious leaders of his time were busy adding rule after rule, making everything more complicated, he did something revolutionary. He took the entire law, all 613 commandments, and boiled it down to just 2 things. 1. Love God. 2. Love others. That's it. That's the tweet. That's the whole message in its purest form. But let's be real. What does that actually look like in our crazy, busy modern lives? What does it mean when your boss just took credit for your work? Your kids are driving you crazy? That person cut you off in traffic? Your bank account is looking scary? Your relationship status is complicated? Your future feels uncertain? Or when life just isn't going according to plan? Before we dive into what faith is, let's clear up what it isn't. You know, those things we've somehow convinced ourselves we need to do to be doing faith right. Here's what faith isn't. A spiritual CrossFit program where you have to hit all your religious reps. A religious vocabulary test where you need to know all the churchy words. A cosmic good behavior contest where God keeps a running tally. A perfect performance show where one mistake ruins everything. A complicated ritual that only special people can understand. Or a secret code that you need to crack. Faith is way simpler than that. It's about relationship. That's the key word here. Relationship. Think about when you were little. Did you understand the complex economics of running a household? You just trusted. You knew they loved you, and that was enough. You didn't need to understand everything to have a relationship with them. You didn't need to speak in fancy words or follow complicated rules. You just needed to trust their love and respond to it. So here's faith made simple. Just 4 things. And trust me, these aren't complicated steps. They're more like natural responses to God's love. 1. Trust. Every morning you choose to believe God's got this, even when it doesn't feel like it. It's like choosing to wear a parachute before jumping. You might be scared, but you trust it'll work. This isn't blind faith. It's choosing to remember who God is and what He's done before. Sometimes trust looks like just getting out of bed and saying, "Okay, God, let's do this." 2. Talk. Prayer isn't about fancy words or special formulas. It's just talking. During traffic, "God, help me not lose my cool." While making coffee, "Thanks for this morning." Taking the dog out, "Beautiful sunset, God." Even when you're half asleep, it's like texting your best friend throughout the day. No need for these and thous, just real honest conversation. 3. Listen, not just with your ears, with your heart, those quiet moments when you just know. Mind, through reading and learning. Eyes, seeing God's work in daily life. Actions, when something nudges you to help others. Sometimes God speaks through a friend's advice, a timely message, a moment of clarity, or just a deep sense of peace. The key is staying open to hear in whatever way He chooses to speak. 4. Love. When you experience God's love, it just flows out. Like a cup overflowing. Simple as that. It shows up in small acts of kindness, unexpected generosity, patient responses, forgiveness offered, grace extended. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what about when life hits hard and everything falls apart? Doubt creeps in and you're not sure anymore? You mess up, like really mess up? You just don't feel it and God seems distant? The questions seem bigger than the answers? Your faith feels more like a question mark than an exclamation point? Here's the beautiful part. Faith isn't about getting everything right. It's about getting up again, and again, and again, like a toddler learning to walk. They fall, sometimes hard. They get up, maybe with tears. They try again, wobbling but determined. That's it. No toddler ever took a masterclass in walking. They just kept getting up. So what does this look like in real life? Choosing kindness when that car cuts you off, even if you really want to honk. Being honest when a lie would be easier, even when it costs you something. Forgiving when you really don't want to, especially when you don't want to. Trusting when nothing makes sense and waiting for clarity. Loving when it's not comfortable, because that's what Jesus did. Starting over when you fail, because grace is real. And here's a bonus tip. You don't have to figure it all out alone. Faith grows better together. Just like plants grow better in a garden than alone in the desert, your faith grows better when surrounded by others. Let's break it down one final time. Remember, sometimes we add complexity, but faith at its core is simple. It's not about rules, it's about relationship. It's not about being perfect, it's about receiving grace. It's not about performance, it's about presence. So next time someone tries to complicate your faith journey, remember, trust God, love others, repeat. It really is that simple. Not always easy, but simple. And if anyone tells you it's more complicated than that, maybe they're the ones who need to watch this video. Because here's the truth. Sometimes we can get caught up in making things more complex than they need to be. Maybe it's time to return to the simple beauty of faith. Back to the basics of what matters most. How has making faith complicated held you back? Share below. And don't forget to subscribe for more Made Simple episodes, because life's complicated enough already. Remember, we're not aiming for perfect faith. We're aiming for authentic faith. And authentic faith? Well, it's really not that complicated.